Hi, I'm Ashaxi, and this is part 2 of my sheep to shoe series. We're going to talk about carding up your fleece in preparation to felt. If you have purchased fleece in roving form like this, that's already pre-carded and pre-dyed, you can skip this step. You'll just be using your pieces like this to line up your poodle pile. If not, and you have just raw fleece ready to go, there are a couple of ways that you can prep it to get it to the point of that roving. These are hand cards, and you could hand card, which is not something that I do a lot of, so I'm not real good at it. Yeah, so I'm not doing that, but that's an option. What I am doing is I'm using the drum carder, and it produces nice bats that are about that wide and about that long that you can then line up into a poodle pile for felting. So a lot of people like to wash their fleece before they work with it. It gets some of the lanolin out and veggie matter and whatever else sheep get into. I don't. I go ahead and dye, or not dye. I do what's called felting in the grease, so I leave the lanolin and the dirt in it. This is a messy process. I'm already covered with sheep fiber and kind of dust from whatever's in the wool. Don't wear your best clothes. You're going to get dirty, you're going to get wet, you're going to get covered in goo, you're going to want to shower later. So my first step is to sort of pull bits apart like I'm doing, just to kind of floof it up a little bit to get it ready to go in the carder. If you don't have access to a carder, if you don't own a carder, I do loan mine out. There are a lot of people locally to the Portland area who have drum carders that may or may not be willing to loan out. Some people don't like to have, they use their fleece for spinning, and they don't like to have the lanolin in it, so they will ask that you do wash really well before you use. In the first video I talked about end cuts, and you can see this is a really short staple. The staple is how long your fleece is. So I think this has been, end cuts are when they're shearing the sheep, instead of getting right at the skin and getting the full long staple, they end up kind of cutting halfway through. So I think some of these are end cuts. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is just really slowly start to feed the fiber in. And I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but I'm just slowly letting the tines, these are like little nails on here that are curved to grab the fleece. And so you just turn the wheel and let it slowly grab the fleece. And you don't want to have any big chunks go in, because the whole goal here is that you're separating all the fibers. It comes off the sheep kind of in chunks like this, and we want to separate all that out and get it combed so that when you spread it out for felting, you can get a nice even fabric with your felt. If you have chunks laid out, you get thick parts and thin parts, and that is not really what you want. In traditional nomadic felting, they use a process that looks like they're beating it with sticks, and they use a bow. I don't really know a lot about that process. I've never done it. It looks really interesting, and it's written about a lot in books. So that's totally something to do further research on and check out. But it's not my gig, so I'm not going to teach you about it because I don't know enough to do that. So this takes a really long time. Oop. Now see, I just let a chunk get through. So I'm going to come back in and kind of take some of that back off. My goal is that I want this to get evenly filled with fleece. And once it gets evenly filled, I will pick that bat off. And if it looks like it's carded well enough that it's going to give me a nice even bat to use in the felting, then I'll only go through once. Sometimes I have to put fleece through twice. If I have a fleece that's been washed and it's partially, there's another chunk, it's partially felted up, you have to kind of break that those felted bits. They're like little dreadlocks. You have to break those up while you card it, and so that means sometimes you have to put it through twice. So you